Hello students, in this video we are going to study chapter number 1, Matter in our surrounding, class 9 science. The topic from this chapter like physical nature of matter and characteristic particles of matter already I have completed, and now I'm going to start states of matter. So here matter is anything that has mass and occupies some space. So already we have studied this topic, that is what is matter. So what is matter? Matter is anything in the universe which has some mass and which occupies some of the space surrounding us. So whatever material we can see surrounding us, beside us, that everything comes under matter. It may be table, chair, pen, book, etc., which has some mass and which occupies some space in the universe, that is called as matter. Matter exists in mainly three states. So what are the three states? Solid, liquid and gases. So whatever examples of matter which we can see around us, those all we can divide into three states, that is solid, liquid and gases. So if I want to give the example, like chair is solid, water is liquid, oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, these all gases are nothing but gaseous state. So these are the examples. Now, these states occur because of the differences in their arrangement, movement, and force of attraction between the particles of matter. Actually, these all are matter. It may be solid, liquid, or gases, all comes under matter, but still we will divide into three states because these all differences, they have the differences in their arrangement of particle, movement of particle, force of attraction present in the particle. Means solid is also having particles, liquid is also having particle, gaseous state is also having particle, but in these all the particles, arrangement, movement, force of attraction is different, and therefore we are dividing this matter into three different states: solid, liquid and gases. And in this video we are going to study first one, that is solid, in detail. So now we are going to start with the solid state. So these whatever notes I have taken, these all are from NCERT book itself, just I have little bit expanded to explain you people. So now we are going to study the solid state with the help of an activity which is called as activity 1.9. So the material required for this activity are pen, book, needle, wooden stick, pencil and notebook. So these all materials we have to take. And now step 1, observe the shape. So we have to observe the shape of these all the materials. Place the pen, book, needle, wooden stick on your notebook. Move a pencil around each object and draw its outline. That is nothing but shape. For example, if this is the book here, see here I have taken the book. Imagine, so this book I have to keep it on the notebook and take your pencil, and around this book you have to make a outline like this. Now see, like this you have to make a outline. And now remove this book, you can see the rectangular shaped structure on your notebook. If it is a pen, imagine, see this is a pen. I will roughly draw one pen. This is the cap of this pen. Keep this pen on the book and surround this pen, draw the outline of this pen. And remove the pen now. You can see the shape of the pen on this notebook. And same thing we have to repeat for this all the material. Now, observation. All the objects have clear and definite shape. Yes, we all know. Book has a rectangular shape, pen has a different shape, needle has different shape, wooden stick will have a different shape, pencil, notebook, everything, all the material will have a different shape. So this we can understand in the step 1. Now, step 2. Check boundaries and volumes. Look carefully at each object. You have to look carefully at each object and check the boundaries and check the volume. Volume means the space occupied by that object. Now, what is the observation? Each object has distinct boundaries. Yes, the notebook has rectangular boundaries, the pen has different boundaries, pencil has some cylindrical shaped boundaries. So all objects will have distinct. Distinct means what? Different boundaries, and all will have clear edges. They also have fixed volume. So if I keep this notebook here, then it will take a shape of this rectangular. If I keep that notebook here, again if I draw the outline of this, still it will have a fixed volume. It will not change its shape. It will not change its volume. It will remain same. So they all have fixed volume. It may be pen, it may be book, it may be needle, or it may be other material, but all will have fixed volume. Step 3, hammering, pulling or dropping. Now what we have to do? We have to take this object one by one and hammer it with the help of hammer. Then you can pull the object. For example, you take pen, hold here with the one hand, hold here with another hand and try to pull it. on the opposite side, or you can drop it from some distance. Take this notebook and drop it on the from the table. If you do this activity, now see, try gently hammering, pulling, or dropping the object. What is the observation? Their shape does not change easily. If you take a hammer and hammer on this book, what happens? Book will not break easily. But that in case of pen, it may break after hammering some few 2 to 3 times, but it will not change its shape easily. This happens because particles in solid are tightly packed and strongly attracted towards each other. So here, why these objects why these objects are not breaking when we hammer it? Because whatever particles are present in these all the materials, they are very tightly packed with each other, and also each and every particle have a strong attraction. For example, if this is one particle, if this is another particle, this is I level 1, this I will level 2. One particle will attract the second particle towards it, and the second particle attract the first particle towards it, and same process will occur with all the particles which are present in this material. And because of this, these all particle will remain together, remain packed, and therefore if you try to break it with the hammer, then also they will not easily break into pieces or into particles. So you can imagine the pen may get break after hitting some 2 to 3 times, but needle, wooden stick, notebook, these will not break easily. So this was the third step. Now we will see the step number 4, that is diffusion test. Check if these objects mix with each other by themselves. So what is diffusion? Diffusion means mixing with each other. That is what is diffusion. So now we have to check if these objects are mixing with each other by themselves. For example, if this is the book, this is the notebook, I have kept it here. I'll write here notebook, and here I'll keep pen. This is our pen. If I keep this pen on the book, what do you think? Does this pen will get inside the book by itself? Does this pen will go inside the book or mix in the book by itself? No, it is not at all possible. If this is the pen, if this is the pen here I have taken, and if this is the needle, then pen and needle, if we keep it one beside other, does this pen will get mixed in the needle, or does this needle will get mixed with the pen? No, it is not at all possible. So what is the observation? They do not diffuse into each other. They will not mix with each other. So the reason is particle in solid cannot move freely. So diffusion is very slow or negligible. So in these material, as I told, all the particles are so much closely arranged, so much strongly they are holding together. There is no space present between the particles to diffuse some another material. I hope you're understanding. If this is the book which is having the particles which are packed so much tightly, and now if I want to add or diffuse this pen inside this book, see here in the book there is no empty space in between the particles. So this pen cannot go and diffuse inside this book. And same thing will happen with all the material, and therefore we cannot see any diffusion with each other. Step number 5, compression test. Try to compress the object by applying force with your hands. So now we have to see the compression test. What you have to do? Take one by one object and try to give the force. Try to press it with your hands. So take first notebook, press it and check whether the shape of the notebook is changing or no. Take pen and press it with the help of hand and check whether the shape of the pen is changing or no. So repeat this test with all the material. And what do you observe? You cannot compress them easily. We cannot compress notebook. We cannot compress pen. We cannot compress needle. It is not at all possible to compress. With the help of some external pressure, by heating, by hammering, we can change the shape. But just by hand, it is not at all possible. That's why in observation here, you cannot compress them easily. What is the reason? Particles in the solid are very closely packed with very little space between them. So as I told, there is no space in between the particle which can be occupied if you press the object. If you press, all the particles should come close to each other and then they will change the shape. But here, there is no space between the particle. So now if you press also, if you give a force, there is no space to come those particles close to each other and to change the shape. And that's why we cannot compress solid. So what is the conclusion based on this activity? This activity shows that solids have definite shape. Yes, all have definite shape. Fixed volume, they will not change the volume if you change the place. very little compressibility. Yes, we cannot compress. If you give the force, we cannot compress it. And negligible diffusion. Diffusion is not at all possible by themselves. But by changing the conditions, little bit diffusion can be done by heating or by cooling, etc. Therefore, here it is written negligible diffusion because their particles are closely packed with strong force of attraction. So, in this activity, what we have proved? We have proved that in solids, particles are closely packed and they have strong force of attraction between each other. So, I hope you will understand the explanation of this activity. Now we are going to see some of the more points. Let us consider some example to understand properties of solid. So see the first one. Now we are going to take a rubber band. A rubber band can change its shape when stretched. You maybe have seen a rubber band will have some shape that is oval or it may be a circular. But when you hold this rubber band in your hand, imagine you hold this side with one hand and this side with the other hand and try to pull it on the opposite side. So when you try to pull, when you stretch, the rubber band will change its shape. When the force is removed, it turns to its original shape. If this is the first shape, when we stretch it, it may get like this. But when you remove this force, when you stop stretching, again the rubber band will come back to its original shape. So if we apply too much force, the rubber band may break. So if you apply too much of force, if you keep on stretching the rubber, then there will be one time where the rubber band can break into two pieces. So what is the conclusion based on this? Even though its shape can change when force is applied, it regains its original shape when it is considered a solid. So it is considered a solid. So what is the meaning of this? Whenever you apply the force, it may change the shape, but when you remove the force, again it will regain its shape. Therefore, it is a solid. Now, B, we are going to take sugar and salt. When sugar or salt is kept in a different jar, they take the shape of the jar. Yes, if you take sugar in this beaker, it will take the shape of this beaker. If you take sugar into this round flask like this, it will take the shape of this round flask. If you take that same sugar or salt in a measuring flask, it will take the shape of this measuring flask. But each individual crystal of sugar or salt has fixed shape. So if this is the sugar which we have taken in the beaker, these are the sugar particles. These all sugar particles combinedly takes the shape of this beaker. When you put the sugar or salt into this round container, all combinedly they will take the shape of this round flask. Or here they may take the shape of this measuring flask. But if you see single particle, those all will have same shape. So see, you can imagine the shape of these crystals. So it may be sugar or it may be salt. In the beaker, in the vessels, they are taking the shape of the vessel. But if you consider a single crystal, all will have a fixed shape. Conclusion. Because each crystal has definite shape and volume, sugar and crystal are solid. So all will have a definite shape and a definite volume. Therefore, sugar and salt both are solid. So I hope you understood this. Now we'll move to the next. Now the next one, that is sponge. A sponge is a solid, but it can be compressed easily. Sponge. You maybe have seen the sponge which we use to during the construction, even to clean some of the materials. So that sponge, you can easily press the sponge or compress easily. This is because sponge has many tiny holes or pores filled with the air. So you maybe have seen the sponge. You may get the sponge in the market in different shapes, and all will have some amount of small pores inside it, and inside these pores there will be gases or the air present inside these holes. So when we press, these gases will goes out and the sponge will get compressed. When we press it, air is pushed out, so the sponge becomes compressed. And what is the conclusion? Even though it can be compressed, sponge is still solid because its structure is solid. So when you remove your hand, when you remove the force, again sponge will come back to its original shape by gaining or absorbing air inside the holes, and therefore sponge is also a solid. So I hope you understood why rubber is a solid, why sugar and salt is a solid, and why sponge is a solid. So what is the final conclusion based on these all the activities? All these examples like rubber band, sugar, salt, sponge are solid because solids generally have definite shape, fixed volume, closely packed particles. So these are the properties of solid. All solids will have definite shape, fixed volume, and the particles which are present in the solid all will be closely packed due to strong force of attraction. So these are the properties of solid. So these all properties we have seen with the help of some of the activities. These all notes I have taken from NCERT book itself. I hope these notes will help you to understand this chapter easily. If you like my videos, share my videos with your friends, and please consider subscribing my channel if you are not yet subscribed. Thank you so much.